One, two, three. Pow. We're live streaming. Hey guys, I'm still having internet connection problems, and I'm actually pretty sick right now. I'm starting to get a little bit better, but I wanted to give you guys a little update about what was going on, and I wanted to have a little conversation with you guys so I could hear your thoughts about the flu vaccine shot. I want to know what you guys thought about it. What you guys think about the shot? Do you get the flu vaccines? I've always kind of been against the flu vaccine shot, though last year was the first year I got it. The only reason I got it was for my daughter, because you know, I work in the hospital and they come around and they kind of push that everybody should get the flu vaccine shot. And if you have kids, they say you should get it because you could possibly pass the flu vaccine and all this stuff. And if you're having a baby. So that was the only reason. That was the first time I got it, was last year. And, you know, I got it last year and everything was fine. This year, I went and got the flu vaccine shot. And what's up, Chris, man? Chris Galore said, what's up? Let's do this, buddy. Let's do it. Do I have the chat linked up in here? So a couple days ago, I went and got the vaccine shot, man. Because the thing is, this is what happens. Some people may not know this. This is what's going on in the hospital. In the hospitals, they expect all the people to get vaccine shots, which in a certain, I can kind of understand that, because they don't want us to pass. If one of us get the flu, they don't want us to pass it to the, you know, to the patients. Even though I work in pharmacy, I don't directly deal with patients, but now they're kind of forcing people to get it. We're one of the last hospitals to actually implement it. So the thing they did this year, which was kind of tricky, it's kind of sly in my hospital. What they did was that they said that if we don't get the flu vaccine shot, our insurance is gonna go up. So I saw the prices. It's gonna go up like $30 every 2 weeks from what I already pay now. So I calculated it. It would be about $770 a year extra that I would have to be paying. So I was like, damn, I guess let me go get this flu shot. And that's not including my girlfriend and my daughter, because they're on their own insurance. Her thing was going to go up too. So this is how they're forcing people to get the flu vaccine. So you can either have your insurance increase, and then you're going to have to wear a mask 24/7 at the hospital, or get the flu vaccine and keep your prices at the same thing that it's at. So anyway, a couple days ago, I got this vaccine shot thing, man, and a couple days later, I got sick. I'm still sick. I had a call out of work, and I don't know, man. I'm like, damn, yo, do I really want to get this flu vaccine again next year? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking, I was talking to my girlfriend about this. I'm thinking I'm going to opt out of the flu vaccine next year. But there's some people that are telling me, like, this is normal. Like, some people, I was reading online, like 30% of people actually still get sick, and it's just a normal thing. And some people say that it's better to get sick for a couple days and for like a month or 2 months where you actually get the flu vaccine. I don't know how I feel about this. And then there's parents out there that they're giving their little kids. I was talking to a coworker, and she told me that she gives her kids the vaccination. Like, they're getting flu vaccine shots. Little kids, like 2-year-old, 3-year-olds. And I was like, damn, man, when I was growing up, we weren't getting flu vaccine shots. My mom and like us kids and all that stuff, we weren't doing all that, and I was fine. I've been fine all these years. There was actually one time that I actually got the vaccine shot. I mean, not the vaccine shot, that I actually got the flu. And yo, it was tough. Like, it was for like, I think it was like for at least 7 days that I had like the serious flu that like I thought I was gonna die. Like, I was literally, I thought I was I'm in my deathbed. But that was one time out of all the years. So I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, I guess what I'm kind of asking here is, how much is your health worth? You know, like, because like in this case where I'm at the hospital, they're increasing our insurance. They're kind of forcing us, or like, is basically, I'm saying $770. Is that worth it? You know, like, is my health more important than $770? But I was gonna play this video for you guys too that I have here on YouTube with these guys talking about the flu vaccine shot. And I don't know, man. I like to listen to conspiracies. I am kind of a conspiracy guy, but I don't think there's anything wrong either with asking the questions when you go to the doctor's office, because even hepatitis B, I actually did a little research about this, because you know how hepatitis B, they give this to babies as soon as they're born. And they're actually, babies aren't required to get, they don't need to get hepatitis B vaccine, because hepatitis B is a sexually transmitted disease. It's sexually transmitted. I don't know any baby that's having sex, you know. And so I went and I asked a doctor about this, man. And let me just say this: I got my daughter her vaccines because you got to do what you got to do. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with asking the questions. Because a lot of people, they just go into the doctor's office, they just sign that paper. Oh, whatever, just give me these shots, whatever, and just whatever, you know. Chris said, "Man, yeah, it's a tough decision: save money or get sick as hell." When I worked in the ambulance, they forced me one time to get it. I got really sick for about 2 weeks and I had to miss work. I really get sick as it is. So odd, man. Out the flu shot. Had to be the flu shot, yeah. I don't know why my chat's not showing up in this chat box here. Oh, I know why it's not showing up. There we go. Oh my god, I'm such a slacker. But I'm gonna read for everybody what Chris said. So he said, yeah, it was a tough decision: save your money or get sick as hell. When I worked on the ambulance, they forced me to get it. I got really sick for about 2 weeks and I had to miss work. I think the funny thing about that too is, man, is like they make people get that shot because they want people not to be sick. They don't want people to miss work. But a lot of times when you get that shot, you get really sick. And I've even talked, I spoke to somebody yesterday because I'm trying to get people's feedback, because I just want to hear people's personal experience. And this guy was telling me like he's never getting it again. He said he got the flu shot and he got sick for 30 days, like for a month. Like he was just sick, like just. And I've heard this from other people. And my girlfriend actually got the flu shot too when I got it, and she said her arm is still sore to this day, and her arm was like leaking all this blood. When I got my shot, I didn't have a bunch of blood coming out. She said like she had all this blood running down her arm, and it just kept running down and running down and running down. And I spoke to somebody yesterday on Facebook, and they were telling me like, don't get the flu shot, man. Like, don't get it at the hospital. They're just doing tests on us. They have like all these lot numbers and all this stuff. The lot numbers is, I know it's for keeping track of stuff in case something goes wrong, but this person was like, they're just running experiments on us, you know, like. But the hepatitis B thing, like I was saying, you don't need, like, they don't need to, they give all these babies all these things where as soon as they're born, yo, there's no babies that are going to be having sex, okay? It's a sexually transmitted disease. But when I took my daughter to, like, I think her first or second doctor visit, I asked the doctor, and he was looking at me like I was crazy, but then he was like, no, man, like, it's true, like, we really don't need to give hepatitis B to babies. But the thing is that people never really come back to the doctor's office. Hepatitis B, I think you can give it to young kids when they're like in their teenage years, like a couple. I mean, kids these days are having sex like at, I don't know, 10 years old, but after a couple of years you can give them the hepatitis B. But the thing is, the doctor told me that a lot of kids or a lot of parents don't bring their kids back to the doctor's office, or they don't stay consistent enough, so they just give it to the baby when they're babies. That's why they do it. But my thought behind that is, why give a baby something they don't really need at that time? Like, why keep shoving all this medicine and all this stuff down? You know, I don't know. Just my thought on that. But I thought that was interesting, you know, and that's just because of me asking the doctor. And then the other day when I went to go get the vaccine, right, it said something about mercury. Because the flu vaccines, they used to contain mercury. I actually spoke to a parent the other day, and she told me that some do, some don't. You have to ask for the mercury-free ones. And when I was signing this paper, I'm looking at it, it says, are you okay? It says, are you allergic to mercury? And I'm just like, what kind of effing question is that? Like, mercury, there's nothing beneficial or good about mercury, but what I learned is that they use mercury as a preservative in the flu vaccines. And I told the lady, I was like, why would I even, does the stuff have mercury? And she's like, no. She said the old batch used to have mercury, but they haven't updated their papers. So I was like, okay. But, you know, that's what I'm saying. You have to ask people, you have to talk, because if you don't talk, you just sign those papers. You don't know what you're taking. You don't know what they're injecting in you. And, yeah, man, I think I ran out of stuff to say. But that's just my thoughts, man. I'd like to hear some of your guys' experiences. And Chris was saying, man, they forced him to take the vaccine too when he used to work at the ambulance and he got sick. I probably would get the flu shot to save money on my insurance. Okay, true. But they should allow for exceptions. Like if you had the flu shot and didn't get sick, then okay to get the flu shot. That's true. If you got sick from the flu shot, you shouldn't be forced. That's true, man. I think today I'm like finally starting to recover. I don't know, man. But you know the thing is too, Chris, like, hey, Matty Daddy, what's up? Matty Daddy said, sup, we got the flu shot, getting flu sucks. Did you get, okay, my question is, did you get sick from the flu shot? because I got sick from the flu shot. And I was just telling, and Chris was saying he got sick from the flu shot. And I had a guy I spoke to yesterday. He said he was sick for over a month after getting the flu shot, man. So, you know, when it comes to like anything, any flu shot, medication, anything we take, you know, we can all day sit here and read statistics and what's safe and what's not safe. But at the end of the day, I think we have to listen to our bodies too. So a doctor or whatever can tell us all day long, oh yeah, this is fine, this is good for you, whatever. But if your body's not agreeing with something, you know, you're better off listening to your body. But I've had some people in the medical field recently tell me that this is normal. Some people get sick. You know, it has a dead virus inside. The vaccination is a dead virus. It's not alive. I think that at one point they used to give like a live virus, but it's a dead virus. And like 30% of people get sick, and that's just what it is, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know what? Let me play this little clip for you guys while you're in here. You can just listen. Hopefully I did this right. I don't even know if I'm doing this right. There we go, yeah. My connection's still screwed up. I had a really bad week, man. I've been having a bad week, but all right, here we go. Let's play this.
It's funny you mentioned the reporting that goes on, or lack of, for some of these vaccines. You go back to the flu shot, and there does seem to be reporting. 2 years ago, I think, they said there was maybe 9% effective for a certain population. Maybe it was the elderly, I can't remember. In this most recent year, I think the effectiveness for the main vaccine was 47%. And I look at those numbers and I'm like, well, 9% is nothing. 40%, that's better than 50. You know, it's not even 50-50. What are your chances of getting the flu either way? Probably, you know, not as good as even that. Those numbers to me don't seem to support the effectiveness of the vaccine.
No, and they consider like 70 to 80% really good, and so for some strains, some years it might be that high. But, you know, they removed the inhaled influenza vaccine this year because it was only 3% effective. And, you know, people assume that they go and they get their child vaccinated and they're going to be protected even after one shot. But the fact is that even after...
This is actually the thing I was just talking about, just to interject for a second. But I had a coworker telling me she gets all her kids vaccinated, which when she told me that, I thought that was kind of crazy. Manny Daddy said, no, I never get sick from the flu shot. It just depends on your body. Are you an anti-vax person? Manny Daddy, I'm not an anti-vax person, but I am a person that I'm going to ask questions. Like I told Chris, the hepatitis B, babies don't even need that. That's a sexually transmitted disease. And I was actually talking to a doctor about that. And he was telling me the reason they try to get babies to get that shot, that vaccine, is because most of the time kids aren't going to come back. A lot of parents aren't consistent with going to the doctor's office, so they just give it to babies when they're born. So I wouldn't consider myself an anti-vaccine person because, you know, I would never deny my daughter the vaccines because I just want to make sure that she's okay. But I'm the kind of person that I am going to ask questions. And just like I did the other day when I did the flu vaccine shot and it says something about mercury, and I asked the lady and she's like, oh, the sheets weren't updated. You got to ask, man. You can't just be one of those people that just sign everything over. I feel like this day in society, if you start asking questions, you're the crazy person, or like you're the one that's like, you gotta ask, man. At least ask, I would say, and question things. I'm one of those people that question and ask things. And when you're getting the vaccine shots, man, at least ask, is there mercury in it? The basic, most, you know, human, the basic, most like logical thing would be to ask, hey, is there, especially if you're gonna give something to your kid, because mercury is no good. And when I got the vaccine shot, they told me there wasn't any mercury. But I spoke to a parent 2 days ago or something, and she told me that like there's two different versions. There's some that have mercury. I was just reading online that like the multi-dose vials, meaning where there's multiple doses in one vial, they put mercury in there as a preservative. But like the single dose vaccine shots don't have mercury. So if you're gonna get your kid vaccinated, my suggestion is that at least ask for there not to be any mercury, because I've heard mercury can have some very negative effects on kids and children. I mean, on adults, probably maybe not so bad, you know, if it's a small thing of mercury, but on kids, man, definitely gotta ask, man. Dude, there are so many vaccines kids are supposed to get these days. Yeah, you know, it's so interesting too that we're talking about that, and the whole vaccination thing can be a very controversial, like it can start some really heated debated topics, but I just remember when I was growing up, there wasn't that many vaccines and shots, and I just remember growing up my whole life, I didn't get I didn't get any vaccine shots. My mom, like, not vaccine, flu vaccine. I didn't get any flu vaccine shots when I was growing up, and my mom didn't get it, and we were all fine. Now, you know, everybody's getting all these vaccines, and our kids are more messed up than ever. It seems like there's more autism than ever. It seems like there's more allergic reactions than ever, and that's maybe the conspiracy side of me, because I don't know if we're seeing all that stuff now because we're more aware now, because the internet's blooming now, so we can all see more statistics and more things going on. And like, even my sister, comparing my sister to me, right? My sister has a ton of allergies. She can't eat peanuts. She can't eat I think certain types of fish. Somehow she's allergic to roaches. I don't know how they did these tests on her. She's allergic to roaches. She has to carry an EpiPen. I don't know what's going on with the kids these days. I don't know what's the difference in us growing up and stuff. All I know is that it seems like kids these days have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of allergies and everything, versus the kids back in the day. I don't know. And we were raised pretty much the same, you know. So I don't know. It's just an interesting, thought. And also too, like, the whole thing the other day, I was talking to my daughter, is constipated. Well, she's good now, but we gave her milk, cow milk. We started her on cow milk for the first time, and she got constipated. She was in pain and everything. And it's like, what happened? Why did this happen? You sound like an old man. Kids these days. I am an old man. But she got constipated, and it's just the whole thought of, like, remember when we were growing up, they pushed milk on us? Oh, you got to drink your milk. Milk is good for you. Drink your milk. You're going to be healthy, strong. You go to school, they're pushing milk. Milk is, like, kind of bad for you. It's not really, it's not really meant for human consumption. It's cow's milk. Like, and then when you get regular milk, they put all these hormones and all this. Even, there's a whole thing, like, even with chicken. When you guys buy chicken and you buy that cheap chicken, there's something called porcelac, and there's other stuff in these chickens, all these hormones, these chemicals that they're making all these animals grow fast, right? And then you're feeding this cheap food to your kids, and then these kids, your daughters are grown up at 10 years old. They have all these breasts and everything hanging out. They're like a full adult, and everything's increasing and growing. And I don't know, man. It's something to think about. So when we start manning on milk again, I think it's going to be the organic milk. But there's a lot of chemicals and all this stuff in our foods that I think especially young kids are going to be more affected by. Chris said it's a strange world we live in. Part of the problem is that with people wanting to travel out of the country and different people immigrating to the U.S. from countries where the illness is, that's true too. We need to protect ourselves. All right, later, Matty Daddy. I totally agree, Chris. Totally agree with that. Let me see this thing here. Oh, I didn't even realize. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to finish watching this thing here.
After 3 or 4 shots of some vaccines, you're only 65 to 85% protected. Even with the measles vaccine, there are between 2 and 10% of people who take that vaccine who never respond to it. So they're called primary non-responders. So they're susceptible. And you know, the reason they added the second shot, it wasn't for a booster. The second shot was added to that program around 1990 to mop up that 2 to 10% who never responded in the first place. But the problem is that those 2 to 10% don't really have that much higher of a chance of responding by again. They have somewhat higher, but not a perfect response rate even after that second shot. So, you know, it's a real kind of lack of it's a false sense of security that doctors and parents have after vaccines, that they're necessarily protected, and they're not. And even if they do work initially, there's no guarantee that they stay. You know, the more you say, for instance, the more pertussis vaccines a person gets over their lifetime, the shorter they actually respond to it for the shorter period of time. So us as adults, you know, our protection might last 6 months to 2 years, whereas as a child, they just keep giving more and more and more of them, trying to build that immunity. So that's one problem with this feeling that the vaccines are protected. But you mentioned influenza, and there's something that a lot of people are unaware of, and I think this is a really important point to make about influenza vaccines, which is that you're talking about the effectiveness in the year that it's given. Then the following year, there could be a whole 3 or 4 new strains of influenza circulating. Well, there's plenty of medical literature and epidemiologic evidence that if you've taken an influenza vaccine on year 1, that your risk of contracting influenza on year 2 is higher, your risk of getting a pandemic strain is higher, and your risk of shedding and spreading the virus for longer periods of time is higher as a result of what that vaccine did to your immune system the year before. That's a really important point that I think needs to really be hammered home to people, is that even if you are protected that first year that you got the vaccine, it has changed your immune system in such a way that your T cells can't respond using memory response. And so you are actually more susceptible than a person who's never been vaccinated.
That's so interesting that she's saying that. I mean, I didn't even think about it like that. Ricardo, holy crap, you're in here, man. He says vaccines are a sham. Rusty, yo, this is getting packed. What's up, guys? Ricardo, yeah, man, I got sick, man. I'm sick right now. I was just talking about vaccines, and you know, they're forcing it upon us at the hospital, and I just thought it was kind of interesting. I wanted to hear you guys if you ever got the vaccine, if you got sick. And what this lady was saying, which was really interesting, I thought, is that she was saying that, like, it changes your immune system, it changes your immune response, and it has all these effects, you know. And it's just I don't know, man, who knows what's gonna happen one day. He said, I've never been vaccinated before. F that. I vaccinated for the first time last year, and this year was my second time, and I got pretty sick this year getting vaccinated, man. And they're forcing us in the hospital to get vaccinated. If we don't get the vaccine shot, then we have to pay more insurance. So, like, when I calculated it for the year, I'll be paying $700 and something extra. And I was talking to it about my girlfriend today, and she was just like, man, you know what, next year we're just gonna pay the extra money. Like, screw it, yo. Like, we're not gonna get the vaccine, because my girlfriend got it too, and her arm is still hurting. It's been over a week. Her arm is still hurting, and she said, like, when she got it, she was like, she just kept bleeding. She just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. It just kept coming out. Chris said, pay the vaccinator to document you. Yo, seriously. I don't know, man. And then I was like I said, I was really surprised when I spoke to this lady at work, and she told me that she gets all her kids. Her kids are like 2 or 3 years old. She gets them the flu vaccine for her kids. She gets the flu vaccine, and her kids get the flu vaccine. I'm just like, damn, yo. When I was growing up, we didn't take all those vaccine stuff. We didn't do all that stuff, man. When I was growing up, we just did the basics, and I was fine growing up. And I don't have any allergies. I didn't get any mental illness or nothing like that. I mean, there's so many factors. I'm not saying that it's just the flu vaccine, but I'm just saying that, like, this day and age, it seems like there's more people that are allergic and getting sick, and autism and all this stuff going on. And these companies push it, man. They just think about it too for a second. Think about how much money the drug companies are making pushing this stuff, right? They push it hard, man. In the hospital, you hear them over the intercom. Oh, make sure you get your vaccine shot. Make sure you get vaccine shot. Now at the CVS, Walgreens, Publix, wherever, you can just go. The pharmacist will do it for you now for free. They're pushing it so hard, they give it to you for free. You don't even have to pay anything. Oh, yeah, flu shot. Get your vaccine shot. Every year, get your vaccine shot. It's free, man. It's just, wow. I don't know. But I'm going to end this stream, man. I'm going to lay down. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to try to get some rest. I actually called out from work again today because I'm just going to try to recover, man. And I had a video. I was going to do I was going to do it for Monday. It was a nice video, but I haven't been able to do it because I've been sick. So thank you guys for the support, man. Take care. Thank you for joining. All that good stuff. And yeah, man. Thanks for your feedback. I'll be back soon or whenever. It's interesting, though. Let me finish this video off, and then we'll...
And that's been proven in medical literature. I speak about this publicly with the references on a regular basis.
So that was it. So yeah, man. Take care, you guys. Peace in the Middle East. I'm surprised Ricardo joined, man. I was like, oh, snap. Ricardo joined? Later, man. How do I even end this? I don't even know how to end this. All right.